Overthinking can feel like you're being careful, like you're just covering your bases, making sure everything is thought through. But your brain can actually tell the difference between thinking something through and being stuck in a loop that you can't get out of. And there's psychology that shows us why this actually happens and why it happens to so many people. By understanding why you overthink and the psychology behind it, you learn how to stop it. Let's talk about it. Overthinking is something that fits right into the brain glow up topic in this series because overthinking is something that I know I do and many other people that really stops us from being our best selves and going for what we truly want. I used to consider myself an overthinker and I thought it was just a personality trait. But it's actually just a specific pattern that your brain falls into. And once you realize the psychology behind it and how it actually works, it's a lot easier to stop. So, today I'm going to be talking about what overthinking actually is, why it feels like you're being safe and productive when it's actually doing more harm, and what actually breaks the loop. Alright, so to firstly get into what overthinking actually is, at its core, overthinking is mostly something called your default mode network, which is running unchecked. Your default mode network is basically a set of regions in the brain that lights up when you're not focused on a specific task, when you're just sitting on the couch after a long day and you're not actively doing something. In those moments, that's when the network takes over. And it's actually very useful most of the time. It's responsible for self reflection, thinking about yourself, your relationships, your life as a whole, which are all good things to reflect upon, but the problem is when it ruminates on those things. It's just unproductive, unhelpful repetition, going over a problem over and over and over again, but without coming up with a real solution. But here's what's so tricky about it, and what makes it so hard to figure out and catch yourself when you're actually overthinking. When you're thinking through a problem and overthinking, they feel almost identical. Same effort, same seriousness, same thinking of, oh, I'm working on this problem. I'm thinking about how to fix this. But they are most definitely not the same thing. When you're actively problem solving, your brain moves toward a solution. Your brain moves toward making a decision. You're actively following a pattern of thoughts to get somewhere. Overthinking is just circles and circles of the same repetitive thinking, but not getting you anywhere. And what's so frustrating is your brain can't even flag which one you're doing at a specific time. There's no alarm that goes from, well, you were just thinking about something in a good way to now you've started overthinking. There's no way of knowing when you've made that switch or if you fully just started overthinking in the first place, which is exactly why you can overthink for hours and be thinking that you were doing something productive, helping yourself, thinking through something to get somewhere, but you were really just going down a downward spiral. So now that we know that overthinking can feel like when we're actually problem solving, here's why overthinking often feels productive when it's really not. Overthinking recruits the same brain areas that planning and problem solving does. It activates that feeling of I'm doing something useful when it's actually not moving you forward at all. There's also a stress response piece involved here. When you're anxious about something, your brain treats that uncertainty like a threat, and it treats that threat as something that needs to be solved immediately. So your brain keeps returning to the problem, trying to find the version of thinking that will actually make the discomfort go away. But we all know that relief from anxiety or that discomfort doesn't come from more thinking. So, overthinking isn't your brain malfunctioning or that there's something wrong with you. It's your brain actually trying to protect you. It's just using the wrong tools to try and get the job done. Alright, so here is what actually breaks the cycle of overthinking. And it's almost going to sound so simple to be true, but research actually backs up these claims. First is externalizing the problem. This can mean writing it down, saying it out loud, or even texting it to somebody. It means getting out of the internal loop that the problem has caused and into some external form, which actually reduces the overthinking spiral because your brain stops needing to hold and recircle it to keep track of the problem. The second thing you need to do is set an actual decision point. Overthinking thrives on open-ended problems. Creating a decision point like I will make a decision by Thursday or I will stop thinking about this in the next 5 minutes gives your brain a stopping point. And this interrupts the loop far better than just trying to will yourself to stop thinking about it. Third, and one that has helped me the most, is physically shifting your environment or the state you are in when you are overthinking. This can be movement, going for a walk, doing a quick workout, changing the environment you're in. So if you're in your room, moving to a different environment, even just standing up and just moving your hands, going to organize some books in the corner of your room, to put away some clothes. Any sort of distraction from the overthinking state that you were just in. Rumination is largely a mental loop. And when you interrupt it physically, and it's often way more effective than trying to outthink your overthinking. I know for me, these 3 tips, especially the last one, have helped so much. There are a lot of times where I've caught myself overthinking and just literally moving from one room to the other, or then going to do a task, distracted me from my overthinking completely. Overthinking for me often does happen a lot too when I'm scrolling on social media. So I'll be, on the couch, I'm scrolling, then I get into this loop of overthinking something and just literally putting down my phone and going to do a task that I said I was going to do before I started downward spiraling on social media has stopped me from then going back to overthinking. And I often go to bed without even remembering the problem that I was just having. Overthinking is something that majority of people deal with. And like I said, it's not something that's wrong with your brain or that you need to try to fix. Your brain is trying to help you. It's just using the wrong tools to do it. So now that you know this information, you can actively help yourself the next time you are overthinking. You know your brain is just trying to help, but now you have a better way of getting out of that loop. So if there's one thing to take away from this, overthinking isn't proof that you're being careful. It is a negative loop and not a strategy of problem solving. And the way out of it is most definitely not more thinking. Sometimes your brain just needs a break, and it's getting that thought out of your head and distracting yourself. Taking that mental thought and moving it physically out by writing it down or saying it out loud. It is learning when you've had enough and to step away from the thinking rather than just letting it control you. If you're someone like me and you've overthought things before, hopefully this video has helped you realize those things that keep you overthinking, and now you know what steps to take to stop the loop. If this video helped you in any way, or if you enjoyed watching, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Learning about this really did help me, and I love doing these little brain glow up series, so if you have any more ideas, please let me know, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!